see.
Yeah. Long time no see.
Long time no see.
You've been ducking me.
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm.
You have a good Thanksgiving?
I did.
Cool.
Didn't do too much.
Yeah, me either. Lots of food. Alrighty, so new series here. We're going to be going ahead and taking the next 4 episodes we're going to do. We're going to do 2 before Christmas, skip a week for Christmas, then do 2 after Christmas. And we're going to be breaking down the top 4 Democratic candidates, starting with Biden, then moving on to Bernie, then our girl Warren, then our boy Buttigieg.
Yes.
And then the 5th week will be a surprise episode, which we will reveal at a later date. The anticipation will build over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, the president is going to be impeached by then. So
yeah,
not too much to talk about.
Yeah, that would totally get in the way of our podcast if he gets impeached. I have a plan here that would mess it up.
He can do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
He'll be impeached this week.
Yeah, actually, he probably is it going to be? I thought wasn't Nancy wasn't Nancy saying she wanted to do it before Christmas for sure?
I think they could do it this week and then have the trial.
Which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that has been watching this. I mean, there's pretty much no way they couldn't have impeached him with the amount of information that came out, even if it's not going to work out.
They commit it.
Yeah.
They got to do it.
So we will have to do a segment on that, obviously, as soon as he gets impeached and kind of break down. And then the Senate trial will happen in January, so I would imagine so, because I think I even saw a calendar for the Senate. They blocked out January because they don't really know how to plan for this, so they just blocked the whole month out for all the regular agendas they normally do. They just kick that back further into February or March.
Interesting.
And they're opening up the whole month for a glorious month
of impeachment.
It's going to be terrible.
And caucusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy month.
It's a busy year.
Yeah. Yeah, because, Trump obviously is not going to be removed because you don't have any Republicans that'll flip on him no matter what. I mean, I've always believed, short of a recording or video of Trump doing something super, super atrocious, it doesn't matter how bad he does, or how bad he gets backed into a corner, no Republicans are going to turn on him because it's kind of political suicide.
Yes.
Or at least not enough Republicans. So, yeah, and then the first primary state votes in February.
Yeah, first week of February, Iowa. New Hampshire.
Yeah. Cool. So before we jump into our first candidate, Mr. Biden, what beer of the week are we working with?
Actually, the segues with Joe Biden.
Oh, okay.
So Joe Biden's from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
I just found that out this week.
You didn't know that?
I love The Office, so it made me like him a little bit more, unfortunately.
Don't give your hand. So there's a brewery in Pennsylvania, in Pottsville.
Okay.
It's the oldest brewery in America.
Really?
And they brew Yingling.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. The lager.
Yep.
I have never had Yingling, believe it or not.
It's a Pennsylvania beer. It's a twist off.
Original amber beer.
It says it on the label.
You're gonna have. Oh, it does say it on the label. Yeah, I always never wonder if one of those things are true when it says America's oldest beer. If
I don't know.
Marketing, or if it's just like Trump just say it enough times, people start believing it over time.
That's true. That is beer, but I felt Pennsylvania fit.
This is lukewarm.
Yeah, I had to buy it
So it's
before
not chilled.
I didn't have my cooler.
It's actually pretty good though.
So I poured it.
Even lukewarm, which means if it's cold, it would be better.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have. So I don't generally like a lot of beers because their aftertaste is so nasty. But this side is actually pretty smooth.
That's why I drink Miller Lite. And we have a mutual friend.
Yes.
Named Lee Byers.
Who?
Lee Byers.
Oh yeah.
Who doesn't like Miller Lite.
No.
So he can.
He said he wants to get on the podcast because you keep name dropping him, and he wants to get on it, basically duke it out over something.
That's why I name dropped him just now.
Yeah, there we go. Just keep instigating. Poke the bear.
I'm instigating.
He'd like to probably talk about vegetarian, vegan eating, plant-based diet, which is
student loan debt.
Student loan debt.
How it should not be canceled.
How it should not be canceled.
And Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey, being smart with your money.
Yeah.
None of those items I have a very strong opinion on. So
student loan debt is worthwhile.
Yeah, I have an opinion on it, but it's not as informed as I feel like it should be. So I
don't think Lee's is either.
So it'd be toe to toe. Ignorance fighting ignorance. There we go. That's the best kind of politics.
That is our politics.
Cool. So good choice on the beer. So Pennsylvania. Thank you, Biden. It's all you.
Didn't have a Delaware beer, so we'll see what Bernie gets.
Delaware. I was actually up there because my cousins are from there, and I went to a brewery that was over there. I cannot remember, but it was local to Delaware. Something with it. He's going to hate me if he ever sees this.
Yeah, you're not going to remember it.
I'm just going to assume it. I don't know. I feel like it has a dog in it. The dog name.
That's original.
I don't know, though. Oh, well. To Vice President Biden. So, he is the first guy that we will be talking about because he is definitely leader in the polls right now, I'd say.
Is he?
I mean, it polls. That doesn't mean he's most likely to win. But polling-wise, he is 29 to 30% on average for the nomination, which I don't know how they break those polls down. Do they there's no way they just do it based on a popular type of model. I mean, it has to be based on states, right?
How much weight does each poll have? So here's the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too much into his path of victory yet.
Yeah, sure.
It's worth discussing. Is that he has such strong support in the southern states.
Yeah, he does too.
Among African American voters.
Yeah, it helps him a lot.
It's a hard block to break, and it's not breaking.
Yeah, at all, which is interesting. There's no one that really threatens that. I'd say Bernie threatens it the most, but not even that much.
No.
That's more than Warren and Buttigieg.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone I could run for president. I'd probably be Buttigieg's support. So, I mean, yeah, I don't, so with Biden, I'm kind of curious though, and I've never studied this, there might be data out there, but I don't know how there would be, is like, how much does it sway whenever you win, like, he's going to lose Iowa, he'll probably lose New Hampshire, he'll probably lose Nevada, and win South Carolina. So the first 4 states that vote, he's losing 3 of them. And I wonder how much the perception of the country changes after that, like how that plays a part in it. I don't know.
So he's not going to necessarily win those states. I would say Mayor Pete will probably win Iowa at this point.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
But he's going to do well. He's not going to get shellacked.
Fair enough. Okay, I haven't really paid attention to, like, yeah, that's true. I always look at just the polling in terms of who the front 2 are and how close that is. But I guess, yeah, if he polls, I mean, if he loses but not by much or, not by enough to matter, then yeah, that's a good point.
And here's the other thing, and this is what helped Hillary Clinton steal the DNC nomination in 2016.
Yes, rightfully earned.
Yeah, okay. We gave her the debate questions beforehand. Superdelegates.
Yeah, about Hillary, though. Yeah, first of all, superdelegates, I'll be honest right now, I don't understand that system at all. I need to look into it more. But, just side note, before you explain to me and educate me, the Hillary, when she just released a video basically slamming Bernie about not supporting her as much as he should have, I'm just like, lady, like...
So, get a couple things straight. First of all, you stole the primary.
Yeah, I'm like...
You and the party stole it from him, and he still almost won.
Yeah, which is like...
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Number 2, he endorsed you and did like 30 campaign rallies for her.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not why you lost. This is why people don't like Hillary.
This is why people don't like
Democrats.
Well, sore losers in the first place. This straight up sore loser. Like, I don't think there's very many other Democratic candidates throughout history who would have lost to Donald Trump, in my opinion.
No.
To me, it shows how bad she was, the fact that he was able to even win. Obviously, there's a lot more factors that go into it, but I honestly think if they would put a Bernie or, Obama or Clinton, you go back to, they would have all destroyed Trump for the most part.
Yeah.
Clinton. But anyway, I just thought of that when she was slamming Bernie. I'm like, really? Like, really?
That's it.
Yeah.
No, she campaigned poorly. But in any event, superdelegates.
So superdelegates, break this down for me.
I really only know this from working in politics and exploring the state. So basically, superdelegates are, for lack of a better explanation, they're party elites. So they're party members. They're actual members of the party.
Only the Democrats
in the
do this, though. Republicans don't have this.
And it's basically so the establishment, quote unquote, they have a lot of weight.
But there's super delegates and regular delegates, right?
Regular delegates are the votes. So when they have the convention next year, I don't know where the Democratic convention is, when they have a convention, whoever has the biggest delegate count gets the nomination.
But don't the super delegates have to vote in allegiance with what their state?
No. So, their votes carry more weight than just a regular delegate.
Who decides?
They're party members, so they're official members of the party.
No, sorry, yeah, but if you're an official member of the party.
I'm not. I'm a registered unaffiliated. But if I was a registered Democrat, that doesn't mean I'm in the party organization or party infrastructure.
Hence the elite part of it. It's
so the California Democratic Party, North Carolina, these Midwest, Michigan.
I see what you're saying. So it's like a subcategory within the Democratic Party that you can be within somehow.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Electoral College works. You can kind of just. I mean, it's kind of weird how you become a part of the Electoral College. So
their votes. I'm not.
Are these all people who are like buying their way into it? Is there like some corruption in terms of even becoming a superdelegate usually, or is it pretty like vetted pretty well as far as?
I would not say it's merit based.
Fair enough. Anyway, continue.
But in any event, and again, I'm not. I know a little more than you, I think, but not too much.
Yeah.
Even if they do have to vote for what their state says, they carry more weight. Well, that doesn't make sense because Bernie won states where the superdelegates
voted for Hillary, right?
Yeah, voted for Hillary, and those votes aren't equal. So that's the thing.
So in other words, superdelegates are all that really matters at the end of the day.
Yes and no. They count a lot. So
I guess I don't know who the determining factor is then. Like, how do you determine who the Democratic nominee is?
This would require more research.
This would require a lot more. That's weird.
But
I feel like I would roast the hell out of this whenever.
It's a bad system. Well, that's why Hillary won.
Yeah. Yeah. No. See, this is the part that's hard. There's so much in politics to have to like learn.
Right.
I'm the type of person who tries not to have an opinion on something unless I've actually done some research on it, for the most part. And so there's like 1,000 items to look into in politics. And with me just starting the last couple of years of getting more and more educated, I've only gotten like 15-20% of what I feel like I really need to have
more than the average.
Yeah, which is unfortunately more than the average. But like when it comes to superdelegates, I had heard that Hillary had rigged it to so where she would get the superdelegates, or like had not necessarily rigged it, but like set it up to where that was her fail-safe. Like she was going to get it all the time. It didn't really matter. But I didn't really know what that meant and how you even do that, and I don't really know how you become a superdelegate, and all that stuff is very fuzzy.
But it's essentially the establishment,
which is like super anti-Bernie and Elizabeth.
Right. And Joe Biden would likely have that. He's for sure the establishment's chosen candidate.
Yeah,
John Kerry just endorsed him.
I saw that. No, and I don't know who's like, I'll support Joe now because John Kerry endorsed him.
Yeah.
I don't know who that person is, but anyway, maybe boomers.
Okay, boomer.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
The one thing that I realized about Joe when I was kind of researching and looking into his political past, it's funny, if you YouTube Joe Biden political history throughout the years or something, nothing comes up. There's like nothing on YouTube about this guy throughout the years, which like just shows you what audience he's. I mean, there's like certain little clips of his stuff throughout the years, but there's nothing like if you look at Bernie Sanders throughout the year, right?
There's everything.
There's millions of views on certain videos because he appeals to a younger audience that uses YouTube, but the older audience doesn't really utilize YouTube that much, so there's not a lot of views on Joe Biden's videos. It's kind of funny. But one of the things I realized is back in the 88 when he ran for president the first time.
And lost.
For plagiarizing reasons, which was pretty interesting.
He stole someone's speech, correct?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I was trying to look into that more. It seemed like such a minor aspect of the speech he stole, but apparently there's like 4 or 5 instances of stuff, and so it just kind of made it look bad.
Yeah.
But he's always been the moderate candidate. I didn't realize that. That's always been his kind of like road he paved for himself within the Democratic Party, is to be kind of like the moderate that appeals to Republicans and Democrats candidate from an early time.
I mean, he was a senator from Delaware for like 3 decades.
Long time.
And then he's the vice president to Obama because he loses in 2008.
Yeah, which is
quickly
interesting. Yeah, very quickly.
Now he's running again.
Yeah. So he's run 3 times: 1988, 2008, and 2019.
Yep.
Almost.
Exactly.
Almost
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So he's running again, and he is the moderate candidate. His shtick is, he's going to restore the soul of America. Moderate. He's going to work across the aisle, and I guess the idea is swing voters or Trump voters will defect and come to him.
Well, did you hear what he said just this last week? He said, look, if you're a Republican, stay a Republican. You can just vote for me. He said, I think it's actually dangerous if the Republicans aren't somewhat in power. If it's only the Democrats who are in power, then it's dangerous. And I was just like, oh my God, like who talks like this?
Yeah.
Who's trying to be like this is why I respect Bernie, even if in 5 years from now through studying I'm like, Bernie's ideas are whack, I totally disagree. I respect that he believes full-heartedly in the need to push those ideas.
And he's always
same thing. The same stuff. And Joe Biden's sitting here going like, hey, my party's position isn't good enough for us to have the power. There needs to be some type of check to our power. And I'm just like, well, I don't understand. Like, if you think you're fighting for good and for help for America, why are you saying, oh yeah, people can fight me back and they're okay as well? Like, I just don't understand that concept very much.
So that's the thing, is reaching across the aisle.
Yeah.
But what the Republicans aren't going to work with a Democratic president.
Well, he was already vice president.
Yeah.
They didn't work with him very much when he was vice president with Obama. I mean, I remember time after time hearing Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, all these Republicans talking about how Obama was the most oppressive commander-in-chief they've ever seen, and how he basically is a tyrant, constrained by the Constitution. He shreds up every day, like that flowery language. And so I fail to see how someone like Obama, who had a pretty moderate presidency for the most part,
very cautious,
very, very cautious, that Joe would be any different. And if anything, what it says to me is Joe's already out the gate compromising. He's already out the gate saying, I'm not going to fight the Republicans that hard. Because if you're saying, hey, we're going to work together all the time on issues, do you know how many issues Republicans and Democrats can work together on and get stuff done? It's like one issue,
Animal cruelty.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
so, by him saying I can work with the Republicans, that just comes across to me like you're not going to get anything done. That's how I perceive it, but, I mean, I don't know.
I think the idea is policy later, getting back to normalcy first.
So, okay, I'm glad you said that, because in my research with Joe Biden, it clicked with me why I don't like the guy. And I don't like him as a candidate. As a person, he seems actually pretty, down to earth. But
too down to earth.
Too down to earth. Super down to earth.
Yeah.
But one of the things he said in 1988 when he was running, he said the Democrats are too concerned on policy and having substance and having, a 10-point plan on how to get this and this changed. He's like, why don't we just, basically offer inspirational messages and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, wow, like that gives me a mindset of how he is, because why can't you do both? Why can't you inspire people and have a plan to get there? Why is it you have to inspire people but have no plan to get there? I mean, this is part of why people hate Washington is you have this flowery language that change, we're going to come up and fix your life, and then nothing really happens. If anything, it kind of gets worse. It's like, so for me, I've always been someone that likes someone's plan to be laid out, and I can test it with data and theories and stuff. And Biden's kind of thing is, let me just return to normalcy. Let's just keep the boat rowing the way it used to. And I just don't understand why that's an appealing message.
But so Barack Obama, I think, had both of those things, which is the language and the plan.
Yeah. And see, I never followed his candidacy, but he definitely had the language. I will give him that.
Yeah.
I don't know about the plan part.
Well, and I think healthcare was his biggest thing. And
what did he run on when he was running for president? The nomination for healthcare, was it always a public option? Was that always his?
He
thing?
wanted a public option,
so that was his right out the gate.
But he couldn't get it through the Republicans, and the primary he hammered Hillary on the Iraq War. Because
really?
at the time in 2008, she voted for this, and we're still deep in it. So he killed her on that.
Yeah.
But I think with Biden, is the return to normalcy, is that enough? And to a lot of these swing Republicans, it's like, is the country really that bad?
The economy's doing pretty well. I don't think most people think it is.
Right.
I really don't. And it's weird. Like Joe Biden just released his ad where he's mocking Trump for being mocked in front of.
It's a good ad.
And the ad is in some ways you're like, well, that's good, but I'm pretty sure the Republican base is okay with Trump being laughed at from leaders because there's this whole idea of American exceptionalism built into the Republican Party. And the belief is essentially like we know what we're doing, whether the whole world thinks we do or not, and we're going to succeed because balls to the walls is our philosophy, and we're just hardworking people who are going to get our stuff done. And so you have someone like the French president, who not one American is going to put any weight behind, and Justin Trudeau, who all the Republicans know about him, is he had blackface on and won re-election, and that's somehow supposed to sway these moderate voters. I just don't understand. I don't understand who the audience is for that, other than your Democratic. Boomer type population. Like that's who it seems to.
Right. So these are the people that they want Joe Biden because they want to get back to the status quo. They want to get back to business as usual, moderation.
Who is they?
And I'm talking about like the status quo or status quo Democrats or Democrats.
Sure. Okay.
Joe Biden.
100% agree with that. Yeah.
And I think there's a faction of Joe Biden supporters that are so scared.
Yeah.
They just see him as the best hope.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I think a lot of people who don't know politics a lot and just see chaos all the time with Trump just want the opposite of chaos, and they want someone who. And honestly, his record's impressive when it comes to how long he's been in politics.
Right.
I mean, he got elected to the Senate when he was 30 years old. I mean, actually 29, and he got inaugurated.
He was in the House. Yeah. Senator, vice president.
Yeah, I mean, he has an impressive kind of stable record, if you will. So it helped me see why certain people were definitely attracted to him. I mean, he's had some tragedies in his life with his wife and son and everything. So I mean, I can see the appeal from what you're saying is it's normal.
And certainly more. Oh God, I don't even know if it's true. Is he more stable than Donald Trump?
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's more predictable.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. So in that sense, he is more stable. He definitely has some just recently with the. With that voter, was it in Iowa or New Hampshire?
Let's discuss that in Iowa.
Yeah, it was in Iowa, right?
Yes.
I didn't know this. The guy was 82 years old who asked him the question.
Really?
Super old guy. He handled himself pretty well. But yeah, the guy asked him, not in the best worded way, but I mean, honestly, it's not supposed to be polished. He just basically said, hey, Joe, we all agree Trump is, messed up and doing a bunch of corrupt things, but what about you with Hunter? Why didn't you stop? I mean, his question essentially was, why didn't you stop that? Why was that allowed in the first place, right? I mean, what was Joe's response?
And Joe said, you're a damn liar.
Yeah.
Called him fat.
You're a damn liar, fat. Let's do push-ups to show who's more manly over here. Because somehow that plays.
And challenge him to an IQ test as well.
Which he did. I didn't realize, but he did that in 1988 with someone as well who was questioning the videos. This is actually the first video that comes up on YouTube, ironically. But there's a guy questioning his education credentials, which Joe had lied about in terms of how good he was at his law school. And Joe was like, do you want to do an IQ test? I guarantee my IQ is higher than yours. Very Donald Trump-esque, like in terms of how he answered it. Because Trump has a tweet out there. He says, my IQ is higher than all the haters. It must suck to be that dumb or something like that, Super. I'm pretty sure I've never in my life been that immature, but
Yeah, that's the president.
Regardless, it's the president.
Yep.
Make America great.
Keep America great.
Keep America great. Kaga. But yeah, Biden responded to the guy, calling him a liar, getting really obviously bent out of shape with it, and it was just kind of a weird moment. It just was like, I don't want a Democratic Trump that doesn't know how to keep his composure.
So, number one, how are you not prepared for someone to ask this?
Thank you.
Number two, if that dude who didn't seem to like Donald Trump brings that up, and gets you flustered, imagine when Donald Trump brings it up. And I just don't. I think it's true. There's a lot of merit in that. Like, how did Hunter get on the board?
No, there's 100% merit. You know how there's merit in this? Biden is now saying he will not let any of his family members take any foreign official roles on any board or companies or anything. So in his mind right now, he's saying, yeah, that's dumb to do. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to come to that conclusion. So why didn't he come to that conclusion earlier with Hunter, who was clearly doing it for corrupt purposes?
Because it wasn't a big deal.
Because he didn't think anything.
Now, I will say, I think what Trump did, we've all known about this for 3 years. Trump didn't take the opportunity to raise it until it was politically advantageous.
Yeah.
Which is the whole
impeachment and that's why with the impeachment stuff, all he really wanted the president of Ukraine to do was announce he was starting an investigation.
Yeah.
He didn't really care if the investigation happened because honestly, who cares? He knows there wasn't anything that was going to come from it. But if the Ukrainian government says, and the president, who's this new crime-fighting, corruption-fighting president, comes in and says, you know what, we're investigating Joe Biden and his son, or Hunter Biden and what Joe Biden's interactions were, that creates chaos within Joe Biden's reputation immediately, and that's all Trump wanted to have happen. So yeah, he definitely timed it in a way that was convenient on something we've known for a long time. But I didn't know about that Hunter Biden was on the board. Your average American didn't know. It was being reported on, kind of, but your average American didn't.
But it was out there.
Yeah, it was out there.
And I don't think Trump. I think Trump knew. I mean, he calculated this. Clearly. But so these Democrats, Joe Biden supporters. How can you look at these two things and not see a little bit of that swamp that?
100%. 100%.
And so this is how Joe Biden's not going to swing voters, because if you're on the fence, which I don't know how many people actually are on the fence, but if you're on the fence,
that one person out there,
the economy's probably doing well for you.
Yeah.
Trump's a little embarrassing, but like, is it really that bad?
No.
If you look around your life, your paycheck.
Americans are kind of used to they're okay with being perceived as embarrassed to the rest of the world. The Republican conservative element is totally fine with that. It doesn't bother them.
They should be embarrassed.
I promise you that's not a concern they have.
I know.
And so, yeah, I agree with you. They're like, well, Trump might be a little embarrassing and he needs to get off Twitter, but the economy's doing really good, and we're respected in the world's eyes in a way that we want to be respected again,
So if you take that away from Joe Biden, what does he have?
Joe Biden will not beat Trump. I'm 100% positive on that. I would bet any amount of money, anything I own, on the fact that Biden will never beat Trump.
But he could very well be the nominee.
Oh, I know. And if he is, he'll lose, in my opinion. In my opinion, I have no idea what... I know that they think that there's a large sliver of the population who's that moderate person who could be swung. I think that's a very small sliver of people that are actually there. I think Trump has done a very, very good job in building a radical or loyal base. I'll say loyal base. And I don't think very many of those people would ever consider supporting Joe.
And looking at the primary map and the states that vote and how it's structured, Super Tuesday, South Carolina, I think that it's really hard to crack Biden's support among African Americans. And I think if I had to make a prediction today, gun to my head, I'd probably say Biden wins the nomination.
Yeah, it seems that way. It's weird. I mean, here's the thing, like, pros in his corner. He's not my dude, but pros in his corner. He's been in politics for 30 years, and honestly, he kind of does have a record that's not super scandalous. He doesn't have a lot of scandals. He has
the bossing.
He has certain things that, like, let me phrase that. Scandalous in the sense that it's prominent where people are still talking about it today, So, like, his Anita Hill stuff was really bad. Mm-hmm. I was watching some footage from that and was like, oh my god, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
I hear him talk to her. And the busing is bad, and how he worked with desegregation, the busing, with segregationists and the busing. There's a lot of things you could point to for sure, but overall, it's not stuff that I feel like would be news to anyone that would sway a large. So, like, he does have, I think, a pretty large reputation that I don't see how be tarnished.
What has Joe Biden done?
I don't know.
Can you think of a major policy?
I looked through his whole Wikipedia page, and it's like he was instrumental in helping negotiate the Violence Against Women Act, and I was like, I don't know how to like fact check if that's true or not.
So in given that, in 36 years in the Senate, 8 years in the White House as vice president, we have one thing maybe.
I mean, I'm sure he has more he could try to point to, but I don't have any major legislation I can think of.
And the Obama kept him at arm's length for sure.
Yeah, I was reading they didn't have the best relationship actually. Like,
it got better as it went on. And
like initially it wasn't that good, and near the end, because Biden was thinking about running in 2016, he was actually using the last 2 years of his as vice presidency to try to like. He opened like a super PAC to investigate kind of.
Yeah, but then his son died.
His son died.
And he
threw it off. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know what he's done over the years that you can point to. But again, that's not his base. His base doesn't care. His base is restoring the soul of America by restoring respect on the world stage, and also let's get back to the status quo.
And was the status quo good pre-Trump? Better than what we have now.
There's no way you can state the status quo was good, because it's the only reason we got Trump. Mm-hmm. So it was chaotic and bad enough that we got Trump for it. And I mean, I don't know. At least in my mind, the status quo was not good. But I'm always willing to learn why it is good. I can't imagine why it was.
The economy's been doing well since Obama, since 2010, 2011.
Yeah, it's been on
an upward
trajectory for sure.
And it's holding off a recession.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's going to happen in the next year.
Yeah.
Dramatically.
I do wonder. I don't think so, because
if there was a recession, then I think there would be a path for the Democrats, a lot easier one. Yeah. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I feel like Trump's way stronger than most people realize in terms of his electability, because it's precisely because of the economy. Everyone, and he knows that. Everyone feels the benefit of an economy.
Right.
Like, everyone feels that. And so when you have like an impeachment process happening right now, or the Russia investigation, which was completely legitimate concerns, the average American is going, what the hell are they doing up in D.C., wasting all their time with this stuff that doesn't come with anything, just constantly berating Trump for, things he shouldn't do when he's busy working for the economy that benefits me. What have the Democrats done in the last 4 or 5 years?
The do-nothing Democrats.
Yeah, I mean...
But they actually have passed a lot of legislation in the House.
Yeah.
But it's killed in the Senate.
Yeah.
I think like 200 or 300 bills.
Yeah, it is quite a bit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but that's not something, again, your average American knows, is what... And maybe Biden had a point back in the 88. He was saying how Democrats are so always concerned with like stuff behind the scenes, and they don't market really well. And Republicans are maybe just better at marketing what they do better, even if it's.
They got Donald Trump elected. I mean, they have to be decent at marketing,
dude. I mean, he is more entertaining, which, for better or worse. But yeah, when it comes to Biden, I think my opinion is right now he stands a good shot at becoming the nominee. I just am very curious of the early states voting, if that will impact anything for him. Warren is heading down, Buttigieg is kind of heading up, and Bernie has trickled up a little bit. But
Bernie's going to stay the same, yeah. I think.
I don't know what to expect, honestly. I'm very interested to see what happens with Joe's support over time.
One interesting thing is that Barack Obama has has not endorsed him or anyone.
Yeah.
It's
weird.
If this is really your guy...
Yeah, no, he's not. There's no way.
Obama is super cautious.
Yeah.
But...
How mad would you be if you were Obama, though? Like, the last guy that gets elected after you is Donald Trump, and then, like, your VP's running for president, and like...
you can't even endorse it?
Yeah. Like, I'd be so mad if I was Obama. But that's one presidency I need to study, actually, is Obama's presidency, because I'm new to kind of the democratic worldview political realm, and it seems like more and more it's the moderate versus the progressive right now, but I don't know if it's always been that way, and I'm kind of curious how Obama falls within that spectrum and kind of what his big accomplishments were.
He was pretty moderate.
Yeah, he seems moderate to me.
I think if he had, especially compared to like Bernie or Elizabeth, I think if Obama had to make an endorsement, I feel like Mayor Pete might be the sneaky pick.
Yeah, I agree.
He's certainly, he's got a lot of donors.
Yeah, he has a ton of donors, actually. He has the most billionaire donors out of everyone. Did you see actually a couple, which we'll save this for when we talk about him, but he has actually had several videos. Like, he doesn't let press inside of when he's having billionaire fundraisings or rich fundraising, he doesn't let press, and he's super kind of like almost arrogant about like responding to questions. Like, no, I'm not going to let you guys in there. We have a lot of concerns.
Warren's hit him on this.
Yeah,
she has.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting that maybe Biden is not the establishment pick, or maybe they're seeing
Buttigieg is a much safer establishment pick.
I would prefer him.
Yeah, I mean, Buttigieg would appeal to more people, but he has the African American issue where no one is supporting him literally. So you can't win without the African Americans on the Democrat side. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
And I think Biden keeps them, which is why I think he can continue to make gaffes and
People
call
don't care.
voter liars and don't care because they're so scared of Trump.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, should we be scared of Trump?
Yeah, I mean, see, I've thought about that a lot because
Is it?
in some ways our system is very resilient. So someone like Trump, as chaotic as he is, still can't mess up too much.
4 more years.
And it's like, yeah, what can 4 more years do? What has the last 4 years done that has been so bad? And you start, this is where it gets this is where I get in trouble with virtually every aisle on the end. Is like, you want to criticize Trump for certain things, but then you turn around and you're like, well, Obama did a lot of the same things. Well, how dare you criticize Obama for something Trump's doing? Because, like, we'll take immigration, right?
Right.
A lot of the images that were circulating about kids in cages and stuff was from Obama's ears.
Right.
It was, And so you go, well, yeah, Trump has way more harsh and worse language on the issue, and he's instigating a lot of issues a lot more than Obama is. But when push comes to shove, would you rather someone put you in a cage with a smile on their face or with a scowl? I don't care. It's both bad. You know what I mean? So my worldview is, or not worldview, but my mind is, when people go really hard at Trump on certain things, I'm always like, well, how long has this been going on in the first place? Like, if it was before Trump, then why weren't you hard on your guy when he was doing it? And there's a lot of overlap that people just don't like to talk about, it feels like, between the two in terms of, like, foreign policy. I mean, Obama has deported more people than Trump has. And when it comes to foreign policy with, like, drone strikes and innocent civilians dying,
Obama's terrible.
Obama had a ton. So you're like, well, how do you scale issues in terms of what should and shouldn't matter to you? I mean, what has Trump done, like, the worst thing he's done in your mind that's like, I just can't support the guy? Like, if you start thinking.
It's probably the kids in cages. And I think
Same with
that got
Obama.
more publicity. I think the Obama administration, I believe it, I could be wrong, ended it.
No.
They did not?
No.
I believe.
No, because the pictures were from the last couple of years of his presidency. It was right before Trump got inaugurated. Now, Trump has done certain things to make it worse. Like he, what was it? I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's certain things Trump has certainly taken advantage of in a more evil way when it comes to immigration-related issues at the border that Obama didn't. Don't get me wrong. You can't equate everything, but there are certain things like kids in cages that was happening under Obama's years, and part of that's just because people don't realize, but it's a very hard problem to have to deal with when you have so many people coming in. And so the question is, well, how do you handle this? Like, I mean, anyone that has been put in charge of something knows it's a lot harder to do what you need to do instead of someone that's a bystander just observing and criticizing. Like, and so at the border, to be honest with you, I try not to comment on it too much because I don't know what it's like to be down there and have to manage a lot of that stuff. Now, I appreciate that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's values when they talk about those issues a lot more. And in my mind, I'd rather someone with those values be problem-solving those. Whereas someone like Trump, his values are, in my mind, his values are instigating fear and hate. And so that's the values he has when he's trying to problem-solve it. So I don't trust him. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's very frustrating to me when people are so partisan they're not willing to criticize both sides of the aisle.
I think my thing with Trump is not every one of his policies is terrible. A lot of them are bad.
Yeah.
But for me, I can't accept them because it's such a morally subject character that he has. I think saying on tape that he's going to grab women.
Yeah. That's a great point.
The clear financial crimes he's committed as a business person.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. Even when we get to policy, like that's a non-starter for me.
Yeah. So that's my perspective. Is you judge there's two different categories: the person and the policies.
Yeah.
Right. I can go down the person of Donald Trump and list out numerous items that I detest. Like, I don't think he's honest. I don't think he has integrity. I don't think he actually has, like, character as most people would understand character is. I don't think he's selfless. I think he's very narcissistic and pragmatic in a very bad way. And so I just don't, if I had a line of people to lead and I had a list of characteristics, he's the last guy on my list that I'd ever trust to lead, right? So from a personal perspective, couldn't respect the guy less, to be honest with you. Policy-wise, the more I study, the more I disagree with him as well. When it comes to the tax bill, I can clearly see how that is not something that benefits our economy as much as he tries to say. When it comes to healthcare, there is no plan for healthcare. He tries to tweak certain little things, but overall he's kind of okay with the broken system, so I don't like his healthcare system. When it comes to foreign policy, I tend to be more of the mind that you pull back from the Middle East and you withdraw troops, and he can, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday, he can go either way in his tweets, but overall he's been pretty, he's talking about sending troops to Iran recently. You're just like, oh my God.
Mad at them.
He's mad at them.
Yeah.
They hate America. Wow. I wonder why.
Iran deal. Bad.
Bad. So, I can list personality reasons I don't like him. I can list policy items I don't like him. So, like, I do have kind of a worldview that doesn't like of Donald Trump, but it seems like a lot of the criticism against Trump is like, oh, he's just embarrassing and he tweets too much. And I'm like, I don't really care about a lot of that stuff, to be honest with you, personally. Like, I mean, I just don't.
And coming back, Joe Biden's embarrassing.
Yes.
He doesn't tweet too much. He's embarrassing.
Exactly.
So is this, and so then you have to look. Okay, they're both embarrassing. Biden clearly, I think, a better individual than Donald Trump.
Exactly.
But Trump's policy, we kind of know what it's not.
Yeah.
It's tax cuts.
Well, answer this question: what has Trump done from a policy perspective that Joe Biden would repeal or stop?
The tax bill.
No, he won't repeal it. He said he wouldn't.
Biden said he wouldn't
He
repeal
wouldn't repeal it.
So that's the thing. Bernie for sure. Warren would.
That's what I mean by like healthcare. I mean, you could say Biden will fight for a public option more. You could probably make that case, I guess.
So what are Biden's Democratic policies?
I don't know. That's not his thing, though. That's not his shtick. That's not why he appeals to people. He is the wise older male who has been in politics for a long time, who we can trust to stabilize a chaotic environment. That's his appeal.
So if the tax code's going to stay the same, which most Democrats don't like, hate, I would say.
Yeah.
Healthcare's not going to change.
Yeah, because I don't see him. I mean, why? If Obama couldn't do it, why is he going to turn around and do it?
Immigration's not going to change because
he hasn't.
Republicans.
He hasn't said anything about Dreamers, as far as I've seen. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't think he's.
I don't know what his foreign policy is. Foreign policy's tough because there's a lot of factors you can't control. But
you can look to what he did with Obama, though. It's going to be probably pretty similar, which is similar to what Trump's been doing for the most part. I mean, I shouldn't say that completely because Trump has done certain things very differently. But I mean, in terms of the Middle East, it's been very similar in a lot of ways. Yeah, that's my point, though, is like as a voter, I like to be given options of differences, not just differences in personality, which is important, but differences in policy. Mm-hmm. And with Biden, I feel like I'm just given a difference in personality between him and Trump, and not as much as people like to think, but there is a little bit of a difference there. And then a little bit of a difference in policy. Whereas Bernie is like, personality is way different and policies are way different, and I can articulate why I like those more. And Biden is just not that for
me. If it came down to Biden and Trump, I would have to not vote for Biden, but vote against Donald Trump.
Yeah, see...
And that's I don't want to do that again. Yeah. I don't think anybody wants to be in that position
wants to
again.
Be in that position, yeah.
But we're kind of heading down that path.
I get it. No, look, I detest with a passion a lot of the Republican culture and Donald Trump's culture, the cultish culture of just disregard facts and just scream the lies as loud as you can.
So they had the report today, the Justice Department report about the FBI handling the Russia investigation, and it basically says there was not like a conspiracy.
No, it says the initiation of the investigation was done fine, although there were certain things done along the way that should have been done differently. And you're like, okay, that's fine.
And Trump's like, victory.
Victory, yeah.
And Democrats are like, victory. And I'm like, what is happening? How is this possible?
Exactly. But Trump will always claim victory. Even, I mean, we've talked about this before, but when the guy he endorses loses, he says, well, at least my endorsement helped him by 10 points before he lost. You know? There's always, and this is, if you ever watch an Amazon original, it's really good. Sneaky Pete is what it's called. Such a good show. It's about a con guy, but it's super interesting. One of the things you learn in that show is you never drop the con. Even when you're found caught dead to rights, you never drop the con no matter what, because what do you have to lose at that point? And that's what Trump is so good at doing.
But it works.
It works, like, almost magically. Like, it's weird how effective it is. And so, yeah, with the report that was released today, an unbiased person would look at that and say, you know, let's take this at face value. But then this is what happens. So if you've ever tried to put a puzzle together, right? You have all these pieces you're trying to put together, and then someone dumps a whole different puzzle, where's the piece on top. It almost becomes impossible to then put that together because you're having to sort between wrong and right pieces. And that's what Trump and the Republicans are really good at doing, is constantly dumping the bad pieces on top of honest situations where you're trying to put the good. And that's what William Barr did today when he came out, and there was someone else that, I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but they came out and said, we disagree with the conclusion of this.
But their Justice Department
came up with
the report.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It wasn't as damaging as Republicans and Trump wanted it to be, so now you have to have the head of the Justice Department be used for political purposes.
Which it already was.
Yeah, which it has been. Yeah.
He did with the Mueller report when they announced that.
Yeah, it's just a mess, man.
And Trump has this stranglehold on the party. He took over the party, really.
Big time.
And you look at the Democratic frontrunners, Joe Biden, Mayor Pete, like, none of them are ever going to do that, even if they win.
No.
They're never going to control the party that way, which is fascinating.
No.
How he was able to pull that off, which is a complete denial of most facts.
Yeah. 100%.
They agree, I mean, policy-wise, he is a Republican, I suppose, Trump.
Yeah, I would say almost on everything except the trade wars. That has been not very Republican. A lot of Republicans may say they're fine with it in the sense that it's long overdue. China's been taking advantage of us, all this NATO, all this stuff. But most of the trade wars are not in the philosophy of the Republican Party. Other than that, yeah, he's been pretty conservative, actually.
But he used to be a Democrat. I think
he
used to be pro-choice, pro-abortion.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure he is personally still. It's just not politically convenient.
Pro-abortion.
Yeah.
Or pro-choice.
Pro-choice.
But he shifted because it was convenient, and he kind of tapped into that Republican anger.
But
see, it's just not Democratic.
The Republican base, though, they're like, who cares if he used to be a Democrat? Mm-hmm. I mean, the way he's governing is the way we want him to govern, so I don't care. It's just weird, man. The Democrats are, I don't know.
Bad.
Yeah, they're not. I'm starting to learn. Like, if it wasn't for the Bernie and Elizabeth part of the Democratic Party, they're very, very...
But the party doesn't like them.
Yeah.
Bernie's not even a member of the party.
I know.
He's independent.
Which is funny. But it's funny because, like, the Biden and, like, I feel like Obama won because he did inspire people. Like, he came across inspirational, but from a policy perspective, there wasn't, like, a lot you look back at and you're like, I guess the Dreamers Act was pretty good.
I mean, he did reform healthcare.
I really need to study.
In my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can't make rent one month and you put it on credit, I mean, yeah, he prolonged a depression. Thank you. I mean, and I'm not blaming him because he was reacting from something that was being built up before him. I mean, we both work in the mortgage industry, so we kind of understand how that works. So I'm not even blaming Obama for it. It's like with Trump, this is my same criticism. It's like, yeah, the tax bill and the economy's doing good, but how much of that is just because we're putting stuff on credit with the deficit? Like, I never know how to gauge those two things. It's kind of weird.
So Obama balanced the budget.
That is good. I think the last 4 Democratic presidents did it. The last 4 Republicans increased it. Is what I.
Trump's running a deficit for sure. It's huge.
See, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He can run it up as much as he possibly wants to give the appearance of a successful economy, and then he dies in 10 years from now because he's so old. Economy goes to crap. It doesn't matter. It's not Trump's fault.
It's Ivanka Trump can handle it. President Ivanka.
Yeah, so I mean, my opinion is Joe right now is way stronger than I thought he was going to be at this point in the polling. I don't know if he'll get the nomination, but he has a long career in politics. I can see why some people like him. I can see why the older generation likes him because they've known his name for a long time. But I can also see why a lot of the younger generation does not like him.
I don't think that's going to change.
And it won't change.
And I think those young Bernie supporters, even Warren supporters, I don't know if they would vote for Biden.
I don't know either because they might if they find themselves at the voting booth. Like, if they just find themselves there, sure. But they're not going to, like, make a point to go out. They're not going to make a point to get their friends to go out. Because I think it's social media makes it a fad to mock Trump. But I think when most people's lives...
It's easy to do.
It's just easy to do. Yeah, I mean, it really is. He makes it easy. But I honestly think when push comes to shove and the election comes around, I don't think there's as many people that are going to come out to vote against him as people think there are. Unless it's a candidate they're passionate for voting for. And that's just not Biden. That's just not.
Who's like, I'm excited for Biden?
I don't know anyone.
Are you passionate about Joe Biden?
I don't know a lot of older Democratic voters, though, so that's probably why I don't.
Fortunately, I do.
I don't know what their like ideal candidate is. If they could build an ideal candidate, what does that look like? Like, I don't know what their values are.
Biden, but without calling someone a damn liar.
Oh, sure. So a little bit more polite Biden?
Yes.
So an older Buttigieg.
Restrained.
Mayor
Pete is probably the ideal candidate.
Yeah.
Make him straight.
Yeah. Make him straight. Yeah, make him straight. He would be polling better if he was straight.
Mayor Pete's probably the smartest by IQ candidate.
Oh, I definitely agree. He's extremely politically savvy and intelligent.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I think
which is
Mayor
why
Pete has
I
a better chance than Biden.
Oh yeah,
I would say.
Because what would happen is on the stage, people would be like, well, "These are my two options: this guy who's clearly smarter than I am, and then this other guy who's a buffoon."
Yeah.
They would just constantly show that over and over and over, and so people, I think Buttigieg could beat Trump if he fixes his black voter problem. And I don't think that he. I don't
run
know
out of time. I mean, it's middle of December.
I have no idea what the plan is. I actually would not be surprised, to be honest with you. Maybe I'm wrong here, but if he got the nomination, for the voting percentage to turn out for Trump to go up for African Americans, or
interesting
to come significantly down for the Democratic.
I just don't see. I don't think a proportion of the African American electorate is going to vote for a gay man.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think it's too religious of a sect.
Yeah, even
socially conservative.
Even within the evangelical white community, that's a big deal. I mean,
they're not switching to Mayor Pete.
Yeah, there's no way.
So that's the thing is
having the first man in the White House.
Oh God.
Can you imagine the memes that are going to come around?
I know.
I mean, it's going to be terrible.
So the gay guy is going to swing the conservative Republicans?
That's the thing. And I mean, he has it. If he wasn't gay, he would stand a much better shot. I mean, that's just the reality.
I don't think we're ready.
Like, I just don't see that happening.
Which leaves you with two options: Bernie and Elizabeth.
Yeah, Bernie and Elizabeth. Which, God, I don't know what's going to happen, man.
No.
I thought I used to know, but I don't know
sure.
anymore. Yeah.
Biden's going to lose to her.
So Biden, 30, 40 years in the political realm.
Oh, more than that, probably.
Started. I guess he ran.
He's taken the last 4 years off too.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been around for a long time. Impressive resume in terms of longevity within politics. Not really sure if that matters so much if you don't have
no clear policy accomplishments.
No, not any that you can think of off the top of your head, at least. But I mean, maybe I should do some more digging in that. But yeah, so we'll see. Biden has been reviewed. You can tell we're probably biased parties. I know lukewarm. As lukewarm as this beer was.
Yeah, that's how we feel about Joe Biden. Joe Biden is Yingling.
Yeah, he's
a warm Yingling.
He's a warm.
You know what you're getting.
Yingling. There's no bad aftertaste.
It's just there.
Just there.
Yeah, it's just there. I almost
if it's there, I'll drink it. But
I almost got Bush Ice, and I got Bush Ice because I was like, it's bland. You know what you're getting. It's bad, but it's reliable. But then this was in Pennsylvania.
This actually works better.
Quality.
That actually works better. That's pretty good. So next week is Bernie.
Yeah.
That'll be a little bit more lively because I have more opinions on Bernie than I feel like I am educated.
It's going to be us agreeing with each other for an hour about how
I'll have to play
Bernie
devil's
Sanders
advocate.
is.
I'm going to have to play devil's advocate.
I mean, you can like him. There's still reasons he loses.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, Trump's going to win no matter what.
Yeah. He very well could.
The Democrat will win the popular vote, probably by more than last time.
Yeah.
And still lose the Electoral College. We should talk about the Electoral College one time.
We really need to get into the Electoral College because I'm like, I've never done a lot of research into it. I've only heard like bullet points on both sides of the aisle, and I don't know. I try, like I said, I don't want to have an opinion on something I haven't studied, but it seems kind of dumb to me.
Yeah, the idea is the geographically sparse areas are more conservative typically.
Sure.
And so you give them more weight.
I don't think you should, when designing a voting system, you should ever design it based on how certain areas vote. You should just design it based on whatever's most fair.
Well, that's not why it was designed, though. That's the justification for keeping it.
Well, that's terrible justification.
It was designed so you and I couldn't vote because we don't own property.
Yeah, sure. So that's the.
So why do we still have that?
So those are the bad reasons why it was designed. What were some of the good reasoning behind it? And so I get that the issues people face in larger populated areas are different than the issues that people face in rural areas. And so you want to try to have those rural areas represented as equally as possible as the more populated areas. I get that. But to me, that's what the House of Representatives is for.
Right.
That's what the Senate's for. Like, when
it's
it comes to the presidency, I don't know. We need to get into that more. I'll play the pro-electoral college.
I see some merit for it. I think I saw something that's like Hillary Clinton only won 57 counties in the whole country.
Yeah, see.
I don't think that's true.
It's not true.
But think about it. If she won, New York City, Los Angeles, and those are only 2 counties. Yeah. But she...
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
she won the popular vote.
65 million Americans want something and then 62 million Americans don't, and the 62 million Americans win, then that's tyranny by the minority at that point, and I don't understand how a system makes sense for that. And so to me, the Senate gives those rural states a voice. The Senate gives that. The presidency should be one person, one vote, but, I don't know. I need to look at
North Dakota has as many senators as California.
Yeah. And I'm totally fine with that, because then the House gives California more representation than a smaller state. So I'm fine with that. But to me, the presidency should be geared more like the House than it should be like the Senate, in the sense that the more people you have, I don't want my voice to not even matter at all, depending on what state I live in, or matter less than someone just because they live in the country.
And that's why we can kind of wrap up. Is Hillary Clinton lost, and we're like, oh, we hate her, but she didn't lose.
Well, she lost in the sense that, I don't know.
She knew the rules.
Yeah.
She knew the rules of the game, and she lost.
Yeah.
But the majority of Americans voted for her.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen again next year, I think. But it ain't Joe Biden, Chief.
Yeah. If he wins the nomination, man, it's going to be another. Honestly, Joe Biden's campaign looks very similar to Hillary Clinton's, and I think
he's less evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
He has
perception
less,
doesn't surround
well,
him.
part of that, in my opinion, and I mean, I hate to pull the card, but in some ways it's probably true, is he is a white male, and that comes with more credence than the first female president. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I knew within Christian conservative circles that said because she's female, she's not qualified to be president.
Right.
And that card doesn't get played against Joe. And so he has less cards to play against him than she does, although,
I mean, we were talking about what good things has Biden done. You can't really think of terrible things. The Anita Hill thing, but...
Yeah, you can think of terrible things, but not that a lot of people...
Not like Benghazi, the emails.
Nothing that's recent memory
it
that
wasn't
people are
recent.
going to stoke. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's why he has the same kind of... He's coming in the same lane as Hillary.
Yeah.
But he does not have the same negativity, for sure.
I guess you're right. So if Hillary got 65 million, why won't Biden get more? My belief, though, is more people would turn out for Trump this time than they did last time. Because I knew a lot of conservatives who were hesitant about Trump and didn't trust Trump, didn't vote for Trump, but now are going to vote for Trump because they said he actually did govern conservatively on the items they cared about.
I mean, here we are. It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
The country's still standing.
Yeah.
It's objectively doing well.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it is. You might say because of the deficit, you might be able to narrow that down as to why it's not as good.
But that doesn't matter.
Sense. But I mean, that's under...
They're on okay, Trump's 4 years, we're still alive, he's crazy, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah. My taxes got lower.
Yeah, for now.
I mean, yeah.
For now. They're going up.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
So, I don't know. Biden, good luck, man, but you gotta... He's rambling.
Yeah.
Just like we're doing.
You're a damn liar.
Yeah. We'll end on that.
Yes.
You're a damn liar.
Hey, you're fat.
Yes.